Hey, my name is Thomas, and today I'd like to show you two pretty iconic cameras made by Pentax, and that's the Pentax Spotmatic and the Pentax K1000. The fun thing is that these cameras are they are from two very distinct, different periods of Pentax history, but at the same time they share their chassis. They have the same internals, the same shutter, the same prism assembly, and so on and so forth. It's only on the outside where they really differ. Myself, I really love the Spotmatics. And I already did a video about my Spotmatic SP1000, so look in the description below for the link of that video. So I'm only telling you the essentials right now. So this thing, it came out in 1964, and it was the first system SLR with through-the-lens light metering. Okay, there was the Topcon. That was a little bit earlier, but for various reasons it never enjoyed a big success, whereas this one, it became the #1 top seller of the 1960s and also the early 70s. So Spotmatics, they have an M42 mount, the screw mount. Because Pentax chose this mount back in 1952, and it was the right thing to do back then, because it was the first universal lens mount. So it meant that Pentax, they didn't lock their customers into a niche, so they had to only buy Pentax brand lenses. Instead of that, it was an open system right from the start. Anyway, M42, it was a bit dated by the time that Nikon, Canon, and even Olympus had established their bayonet mounts, which were quicker, more comfortable, more versatile, really. So Pentax, they went actually to Zeiss in Germany to assist them in developing their own bayonet mount. Thus, in 1975, the famous Pentax K-mount was born, and it's still in use right now, 2020, for their DSLR cameras. So Pentax, they needed cameras for the K-mount, so what they did in 75 is they took the Spotmatic chassis and slapped a K-mount on it, and you can see that the shape and the size of these two cameras is very, very similar, and also, you see here all the buttons and dials, it's absolutely the same, absolutely identical. So the first K-mount Pentaxes, they were called KM, KX, and K2. They all had this chassis, but different trim levels, so to say. The problem only was that the Olympus, the OM1, it was on sale since 1972, and it was a much smaller and a much more elegant camera. So already in 1976, Pentax reacted to that new trend, and they also introduced their compact models, the MX, ME, and so on and so forth. But still, the old Spotmatic platform, it would live on for a long, long time, because Pentax needed a low budget, a no frills, a proven, a durable, still somewhat high quality body, an entry level SLR, so to speak, and thus they came up with this, with the K1000. So when I say no frills, then I mean no frills. What was cutting edge technology in the 60s in the Spotmatic, it was regarded as a basic feature set in 1976, but still very usable. So you get a manual shutter. It offers times from 1/1000th of a second until 1 second plus B, the long time exposures. You got a hot shoe, a flash sync for a studio flash, and of course you got the bayonet K-mount which also came with open aperture metering. And that's it. Nothing else. There's no mirror lockup, there's not even a self-timer on that thing. Yeah, and the best thing is this basic SLR can teach you all the technologies that you will ever learn for your photography. And that's precisely why it became such a legend, because of the low price and this no-frills feature set. Yeah, they were used by generations of photo students. I mean, I heard this story that there were photo classes that required you to buy a Pentax K1000 to participate. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's maybe urban legend, but it's still a nice story that fits this camera very well. The K1000, as you see it here, it was produced until 1990, first in Japan, later in Hong Kong. And then Pentax moved the production to China, so the Chinese models, they don't have this Asahi factory name on the nameplate anymore. And also the top cover and also the bottom cover of the Chinese models are made in plastic. And that was sold until 1997. Then ended the story of the Pentax K1000, but still the Chinese factory that had produced these cameras, they bought the tooling from Pentax and they produced their own knockoff cameras. So even past 2010 you could get some sort of Chinese copy that still used the Pentax K1000 chassis. I guess that the production run ended a couple of years ago because as far as I know, as of 2020, there's not a single mechanical camera in production anymore worldwide, except of course Leica M. Yeah, so what is it, how is it to use today, this thing? Basically watch my Spotmatic SB1000 video, because it's the same camera except of the mount. Also in your viewfinder you have the same match needle thing that's to adjust your exposure. I like that a lot. It's so much more elegant and it's sort of intuitive compared to many of these LED readouts. There's only one thing I really hate about the K1000, and that is that it doesn't have any switch for the light meter. So you have to use the lens cap basically to switch off your light meter, because the metering system is triggered by light. So if you don't want to drain your battery, you always have to keep on your lens cap, except when you take a photo. And yeah, that's nothing that works for me, because when I walk around I sometimes don't have the lens cap on for a couple of minutes or even longer, or I lose it somewhere and have to replace it when I come back home, stuff like that. So this doesn't really work for me so well. The late Spotmatics that also had open aperture metering, they had the same problem. These old ones, they have a proper switch, so you switch it on. Now light metering is active, and of course it's stop-down metering, but I think from today's point of view it's not a big deal really. And when you take a photo, wait, this switch turns off. Very, very easy, so you cannot forget about it. So I very much prefer this system, I have to say. And what's cool about both of these, they offer you a huge amount of lenses. So M42, of course, well-known, great program. And this is the Pentax K-mount. So this is the 50 1.7 made by Pentax, and this is a 28 2.8. So yeah, as you can see, tiny lenses, very good lenses optically. These are called Pentax M. So the first ones were called Pentax K, then the slightly newer generation was called Pentax M, and then later came Pentax A. If you've got a body that offers exposure shutter priority mode, then you will need the Pentax A lenses for that to work. But if you just opt for a K1000 or another mechanical body, they can take all these lenses. There's no problem whatsoever. Yeah, which one would I choose? You maybe guess it already. My heart beats for the Spotmatic. I just value the history of the Spotmatic, and I totally love its design. And I'm also a fan of M42. I realize it's very old, but it's also a very interesting historical lens mount. From a very practical point of view, the K-mount, of course, it's better. It's more modern. These lenses you can also use on your Pentax SLR if you wish to. And yeah, the K1000 is also a camera that can last you for a lifetime. So both are very, very great options, really. Yeah, so I hope you liked this video, you enjoy what you saw. Don't forget to subscribe if you like my videos. It's a great help from my channel. And also, yeah, leave a like. And if you've got any questions, then just post it in the comments below. Many thanks.